Hey, what's going on? It's Jonga Diop, and it's been a minute, but I'm finally back because it's Libra season. And with Libra, everything is about relationships. And since everybody's talking about relationships, I want to give you some insight on what astrology says about relationships and some things that you can use to kind of judge the people that you're dealing with, and so that you can have the information to say, hey, I like this about her, I like this about him, and I want to make a decision on them, and some things that'll show you what they're like in the relationship, how they think, how they carry themselves, what you like, what you don't like. And so with that being said, we have to look at the planet of Venus. Now, Venus represents relationships because Libra is ruled by Venus. When you think about Libra, it's ruled by Venus, which means that a lot of the energy that Venus has, Libra kind of vibes with that. Libra deals with beauty. Libra deals with music. Libra deals with aesthetics, with it being pretty, but it also deals with relationships. And so with that, if you see Venus in a particular sign, that typically explains things about that particular person. So when you say, I have, say, Sun in Sagittarius, that means the Sun was in Sagittarius at the time of your birth. But you have a Venus sign as well. Venus was also in the stars and in a particular sign at the time of your birth. So if you have Venus in Sagittarius, that means something different for your relationships. So let's get started and let's explain how Venus goes into your relationships. Now, when it comes to women, Venus explains something different than it does for men. When you're looking at a woman's chart, Venus explains how she carries herself, her womanhood. It explains how she is in relationships, but Venus also talks more about how she is as a woman, her pride, her ego, the way that she carries herself, the way that she moves, the things that she values. All of that is in a woman's Venus sign. When it comes to men, Venus is the type of woman that he is attracted to, the type of woman that will gain his attention, the type of woman that he's going to look at and say, you know what, I'm intrigued by that. The type of woman that he may become fascinated or even obsessed with in some cases. Now, let's start at the beginning. Venus in Aries. Now, Venus in Aries has a bunch of crushes. Venus in Aries will also have a lot of temporary flings. Venus in Aries might have a temper with certain partners, and they might get into conflicts, but Aries is often quick to to forget about being mad just as quick as they started. Aries has this super flare-up temper. Aries is kind of like a sun flare. Aries gets mad real quick, and then they forget about it and say, you know what, I was tripping. It's crazy to watch it, but I've seen it happen. Venus in Aries likes the conquest. Venus in Aries will chase. And so Venus in Aries definitely is a conqueror type of sign. They want to see what's over there. And when they go and find what's over there, they want to explore it. They want to conquer it. I want it to be mine. Venus in Aries is after the thrill of the chase. So if you see a lot of guys that are just chasing and they keep chasing this woman and that woman, sometimes you'll find that it's Venus in Aries and all they're doing is really just getting off on the thrill of the chase. Next, we have Venus in Taurus. When you have Venus in an earth sign, that energy is slowed down. That means that in relationships, Taurus moves real slow. So when I've dealt with women who have Venus in Taurus, it often has to be a build-up to the romance unless other things kind of affect it. Because Taurus moves slow. Taurus wants dependability. Taurus wants to be sure. So if you see Venus in Taurus, unless other things are impacting that, typically this ain't going to be no fast one night stand type of thing. Venus in Taurus wants some romance. Now that may speed things up a bit, but Venus in Taurus wants to be romance. Venus in Taurus wants to know that you're going to be there after you get whatever you get. But Venus in Taurus is also a pleasure seeker. And that may be one of the things that gets Venus in Taurus to break the rules, is that if you can kind of touch their physical senses, because that earth sign, it rules the physical body, it rules touch. If you can appeal to their sense of touch, to their sense of pleasure, sometimes you can get Taurus to stop being stubborn for 30 seconds and get them to say, you know what, that feels good. Maybe I need to break this rule that I've been holding on to forever. So, we move on to the very next. Venus in Gemini. And I know 1000% with certainty that Venus in Gemini is a flirt. Venus in Gemini may not be serious about the other people that they're talking to. They may flirt. They may want to talk to this one and that one. They want that stimulation because that's what Gemini gets off on, is stimulation. Gemini is often highly stimulated with multiple things going on. This placement could also mean someone who is into multiple partners. So if you're looking at Venus in Gemini, you say, I wonder, will he cheat on me? I'm not going to say with 1000% certainty that that man is going to cheat because other things have to be weighed. But Venus in Gemini is a sign that says that this person is probably prone to taking on multiple partners, or at least talking to multiple women. They got this one and that one and that one, and Gemini always keeps a bunch of irons in the fire. Now, Venus in Cancer. Venus in Cancer is extremely sensitive. Venus in Cancer wants to know that you're in touch with their emotions, because Cancer is an emotional sign. So when you deal with Venus in Cancer, you're talking about someone who needs to be nurtured. You're talking about someone who may prefer to nurture others. You're talking to someone that may be more of a mother in a relationship, or that may be a caretaker in a relationship. You're talking about someone who likes to take care of you. And often that is exploited when it comes to Cancer and when it comes to water signs, is they're so willing to give and they're so willing to show other people things and do things for other people that they often get exploited, because there are people who are predatory who say, oh, I see a nice girl, I see a nice guy, let me go over here and get that. And so Venus in Cancer has to watch out for being used, because they like to nurture, they like to mom, they like to, take care of people, but there are others who will exploit that. Now, Venus in Leo. Venus in Leo says, I need to be number one. See, Leo deals with that ego. And with that ego, Leo says, if I am not number one, if I'm not the most important thing to you, get out of my face. I call this the worship me position of the zodiac, because Leo likes being adored. Leo likes being worshipped. Leo likes being number one, a priority. When I text you, you text me back. When I say I want to come see you, yeah, come see me now. I want to see you now. See that fire, there's a bit of urgency there. Leo is very regal. Leo likes those gifts. That's one of the weaknesses that you may encounter when you deal with Venus and Leo, is that they like gifts. And so Leo will give with the expectation of giving back. They always give and take, but Leo loves receiving gifts. And so that may be the way in the door. That may be one of their weaknesses, is that they like getting gifts, but that may be one of the things to appeal to someone who has Venus in Leo. Now, Venus in Virgo. Venus in Virgo loves to give. Venus in Virgo will show you that they like you by doing things for you. Those little things, those things that are tangible, that are practical. I took the car and I got it washed. You had this little bill that you forget to pay every first of the month, but I decided to go ahead and pay it. Virgo does not mind being of service to people and doing things for people. But at the same time, there are always people who will come in and will abuse that. And Virgo will find that I'm in this habit of giving and giving and giving and giving, and they taking and taking and taking, and I'm not getting anything in return. So with Virgo, yes, they will do things for you, but also Virgo appreciates when you do the little things for them. Hey, I know you like that particular brand of coffee. I sent you a little $50 gift card. Virgo likes those little things that says, hey, I see what you're doing. They like to be acknowledged for what they're doing. They like a thank you every now and then, which ain't bad, because Virgo will work very hard to please you. Virgo will go to the bottom of the earth to please the person that they're with. And so it's a great sign to be with if you like that kind of thing, but they're also very practical. They're trying to do things that they know that you need. So is Virgo the one that you come to and you're weepy and you're crying? They may not deal with that so well. Virgo's analyzing a problem. Virgo's in their head. And it doesn't mean that they don't have the capability to deal with it. But Virgo says, what's the practical solution here? So they like to do things for people. And that's Virgo in a nutshell. Now, we have Venus in Libra. And so Venus is very much at home in the sign of Libra, like I said earlier. Libra is a sign that is very diplomatic. It deals with relationships. They love beauty. They love people who are attractive, who follow the rules. If there's anybody who's a member of the beautiful people and who likes to be in a relationship with the beautiful people, it is someone with Venus and Libra. But Venus and Libra is also highly mental, highly cerebral. And so Venus and Libra, being that it's an air sign, there has to be that communication, but there also has to be that mental connection. Venus in Libra gets the reputation of being kind of ditzy or kind of spaced out, but in all reality, it's just that they're all in their head. They're drawing up the world as they see it in their mind, and other people kind of mistake that for them being spacey. But Venus in Libra is often paying attention. And Venus in Libra doesn't mind giving, but at the same time, Venus in Libra, as all people, have their own limits. But Venus in Libra is a great position. It's at home. They are very much kind, and they can be warm, and they can do for you. And so with that being said, Venus in Libra is a very great position. Now, Venus in the devil. Venus in Scorpio. Now, Venus in Scorpio, they pretty much like to be in intense relationships. And sometimes that intensity does kind of travel into violent relationships. It can travel into anger in relationships. It can travel into manipulation and control within relationships. And a lot of that is based on Scorpio's need to kind of control. They need to be in control. Venus in Scorpio needs to see that you're going to do what they want done when they want it done. They need to have that particular level of control with you. The worst person for Venus and Scorpio to be with is the type of person that is so rebellious they can no longer be controlled. Venus and Scorpio will cancel that relationship immediately because that person is looked at as not dependable. Venus and Scorpio needs to have access to your emotions, and they have deep emotions. The flaw of Venus and Scorpio is that they often do not let go of relationships. If there's anybody who doesn't let go and who holds on to relationships for a very long time, way past the expiration date, it is Venus in Scorpio. Also, this can be the type of person who can be obsessed with old relationships or be obsessed with the people that they get into relationships with. So, Venus and Scorpio can have that going on as well. So that's the flaw of it. But Venus and Scorpio also can be very much attentive to your needs because deep down they're emotional. It may not always be on the surface. There may be secrets. There may be things that they hide. But when it's said and done, they care about you. And through all of the mystery and the fog, Venus in Scorpio really does like and care about people on a deep level. Now, Venus in Sagittarius. People who have Venus in Sagittarius need freedom in their relationship. They need partners who are not going to be clingy and stuffy and tell them what to do and be controlling. And for Venus in Sagittarius, it's very much a turnoff for people to get in relationships and say, you do this, you do that. Venus in Sagittarius says, nah, I need my freedom. I need my space. I need to be able to do what I want when I want to do it. Venus and Sagittarius will be right back. It's not like they forget who they're with. But do some of them have a roving eye? Yes. Do some of them go out and sometimes never really, ease on back? Sometimes that will happen. But the majority of the time, Venus and Sagittarius is just looking around. They need to go out and they need to explore the world and they need to go on this journey. And sometimes when they get angry at you, they're going to go out and, run away. But at the same time, they will eventually come back. And so Venus and Sagittarius needs that freedom. They need someone who can engage their mind, who understands their philosophy. One thing that Venus and Sagittarius cannot stand is disagreeing with their opinions. Even if you do disagree with them, you have to find a way to get that across and to communicate that without hurting their feelings, because Venus and Sagittarius will pull back once they find out that your opinions are radically different from them, but they want the same kind of respect of their opinion. Also, Venus and Sagittarius typically means someone who will date someone from a different culture. Venus and Sagittarius is not afraid to go out into the world and find someone from this one and that one and that one. In a sense, Venus and Sagittarius is the passport bro position of the zodiac. Venus in Capricorn. Now, Venus in Capricorn is very much practical. They kind of function a bit like Venus in Virgo because they're earth signs. But Venus in Capricorn tends to look for status. In relationships, they want status. They want importance. They want to date the mayor. They want to date the president. They want to be with the rich man, someone who has the status and the power, because Capricorn is a power symbol. And so Capricorn in Venus tends to look for relationships where that person has power, where that person has the money and the finances and the importance and the structure. Sometimes Venus in Capricorn simply means that they want the structure. They want a person who is ordered. They want someone who got their life together, who has their stuff together. That sometimes is enough for Venus in Capricorn. Other things have to be weighed. Venus in Capricorn, the weakness of that particular sign is that Venus in Capricorn can come across as cold. They can come across as only caring about money. They can come across as extremely materialistic. Now, it doesn't mean that because they want those things that they don't have the capability to love, but at the same time, they can come off as if that is all that they care about. And so you have to watch for that when it comes to Venus and Capricorn partners. Now, Venus in Aquarius. Venus in Aquarius is a wild card. Venus in Aquarius typically likes the weird person in the room. They like different relationships. It could be an open relationship. It could be an unconventional relationship. When you deal with Aquarius in the sign on the planet of Venus, basically you're talking about someone who can adjust to different types of lifestyles. You could also be talking about someone who could be into different type of sexuality. You could talk about, someone who is lesbian or LGBT or whatever, particular term that you choose to use. All of that is under the field of Aquarius because it's different. It's eccentric. Venus in Aquarius gets off on being different. One time I met someone who had Venus in Aquarius, and Venus in Aquarius loves to shock. And it was funny because she said, imagine what their faces are going to look like when I walk in there with you. And I said, that's funny. You really get off on the idea of walking in with me and all these people are shocked and clutching the pearls. That's because Aquarius deals with the shock factor. Aquarius loves nothing more than to shake everybody in sight and to have everybody shook. And so with that being said, Venus in Aquarius definitely is an eccentric sign, and they like things that are different. They may choose people that are different, and they may chase people that are different from the norm on purpose. Now, the grand finale. Venus in Pisces. Oh, Venus in Pisces. Venus in Pisces are the people who are most susceptible to manipulation because of two things. Number one is that they are a sucker for a sob story. When Venus in Pisces hears that the cat got run over, that you lost your job, that, mom passed, dad passed, you got 5 kids and you can barely take care of them, and you got one piece of bread and you're holding on to that piece of bread and it's crusty and moldy. Pisces gets emotional and they start to feel sorry for you. And so they can be a sucker for the sob story. Number 2 is that Pisces typically tends to be the martyr. They tend to take on the people who are losing in society, but at the same time, they tend to become the martyr in their relationships. They tend to have this woe is me complex. Now, Pisces' strength is that they are extremely psychic. Venus in Pisces will be sitting near you, and sometimes they can read your thoughts. Or sometimes they will be the person that will give you the call in the middle of the night, and you're like, why were you thinking of me? Hey, I just remember this conversation we had and you came up in my mind off of a whim. And it'll be the conversation that you needed to have at the right time. So Venus in Pisces is extremely psychic. Also, Venus in Pisces struggles with boundaries. And so Venus in Pisces tends to give all of themselves. They tend to put all of themselves in their relationships. And so when they get hurt, they tend to pull back because that hurt is a reality shock to them. Because Venus in Pisces has one more weakness. Venus in Pisces wears rose-colored glasses. They see the world the way that they want to. And when that vision of the world gets crushed, then basically they retreat into this shell. And when hard things happen to Pisces, they tend to want to escape. And they either withdraw from the world or they get into substance abuse. They may get into alcohol. They may get into all of these other things. They may try to escape with reality TV or sex, but they try to escape from the painful situation that they're in. But Venus in Pisces is very unique, and it's a giving sign. And they will give to people simply because they feel sorry. But at the same time, I've had to warn my clients with Venus in Pisces and Pisces placements, don't feel so sorry for all the losers out there in the world, because some of the losers in the world are predators, and they're simply going to use you for that good heart that you have, for that soft spot that you have, for people who may be disadvantaged. Pisces will fight for the underdog, and some people will say, I'm the underdog, when really they're exploiting them. So, with that being said, those are all of the signs in Venus. And I'm thankful if you've listened to this video. I appreciate the people who, give me this mail and who basically say, hey, that video touched me or that video was something I needed. All of the likes and comments and responses, I appreciate that. And so I'm going to go ahead and continue with this. And I appreciate all that you all have said. This is John Diop. Peace.